Welcome to a world where the lines between power, pretense, and patronage blur in the corridors of high office. In Nigeria, a nation of immense potential, yet perennial institutional fragility, a curious scandal has erupted at the heart of the presidency. A man claims to head presidential councils that the government insists do not exist. Accusations of forged letters fly. Whispers of hundreds of millions in bribes surface, and a chief of staff to the president finds himself in the crosshairs. Is this a bold con artist operating in the shadows of Aso Rock, or something more insidious, a symptom of deeper rot in how power is exercised and accountability evaded in Africa's largest democracy? Today, we dissect the Gbajabiamila Adeyemi affair. Welcome to Straight Talk here on Afia Radio 99.3 FM. My name is Alex Obodo. This morning, I am joined by Dr. Stan Okoeje. He is a development economist and public policy analyst. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining me on Straight Talk this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Alex. You look like a chief. I hope you are one already.
Well, we thank God for his mercies. All right, so let's get to this. There's something disturbing coming out from a man holds a particular office for almost a year, and the presidency insists they don't know who he is, that the office he claims to occupy does not exist, but he has a line item in the 2026 budget to the tune of 1.3 billion naira. Please help us make sense of this.
Well, it is really unfortunate that Nigeria that came about through the British system of regularity and formality has become a very informal state in its operation. Some people have called it state capture. One of the provisions of the Constitution was that the government at every level, local, community, state, federal, should be run in solidarity, to show solidarity. But where you see a particular national group or ethnic group dominating offices around the leadership of a government, it is possible that anything can happen. You don't, the budget of any government is a basket in which people are invited to make input. A budget circular is sent around to all known entities, and they are asked to make an input for the budget year that is coming. In other words, the so-called agency that is now unknown must have obtained a letter from the Office of Budget of the Federation asking it to make an input, because the people who compile the budget cannot take information or data or request from people they did not invite to give paper. Because, Afia TV cannot make a request for budget provision, even in Enugu not local government, because you are not on their list. They will not write you. That's clearly why I'm worried, is that many people who have never worked in any organization where there are records, because we say that our government is a government of records, our court is a court of records, our parliament is a parliament of records. People who have never worked in any place where there are records have come to the top of government. Somebody maybe was a passenger vehicle driver. It's not a bad job, but you don't move from there to become governor, local government chairman, or president. You must have worked in a place where there are records. Yes, the Constitution allows anybody to apply, but when you apply, you subject yourself to the rules. But now we find that you can create agencies without formality, without going through the formal process, because every agency of government must be dovetailed to either a ministry or an office of a known office. And from what I have seen, the Senate committee and the House of Reps committee have written to this agency, inviting them to international meetings. I mean, they didn't forge it. Somebody must have given them a list of agencies that are related to the subject matter.
I mean, it's still precipitating. So the whole idea is that Adeyemi is denying any wrongdoing. He says that he's framing the government's response as a defense mechanism. He says that they want to silence him. He claims his life is under threat and that his lawyers are preparing a robust defense. So there you have it. He styled himself as Prince and director of the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC, and his sister body, the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, PEACE. It has thrust Nigeria's presidency into fresh controversy. Now, of course, Bayo Onanuga, who's the presidential spokesperson, has painted a starkly different picture. According to official statements, Adeyemi is an imposter who forged appointment letters bearing falsified signatures, seals, and reference numbers from the office of the Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. He allegedly operated from an office in the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, engaged with diplomats, sought U.S. visa under false pretenses, and maintained dozens of bank accounts tied to fictitious government entities. Police investigations led to his arrest in October 2025. The recovery of alleged forged documents and an 8-count charge of forgery, impersonation, and obtaining by false pretenses filed at the Federal High Court. They said the case is slated for hearing July 27th, 2026. Now, everybody is interested in that case. So they are claiming that he forged the documents. But the question nobody is answering is how did he end up in the budget of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Meaning that someone asked him to submit something before the little I know, I've been in the civil service. I worked in ESVS. They always get invited to the House of Assembly to make a budget defense. And again, you sometimes go to Minister of Finance that's something they call it, to submit something
Yes,
that will help your budget
budget conference.
So if you are not on the government list, if you're not recognized officially as a government institution, so-called, how would you have a line item in the budget of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Because the argument of Bayo Onanuga hasn't answered that question. I'm trying to find out how he managed to do that.
I do not think that the person defending Gbajabiamila is honest in his account. He may not know because he says to be a spokesman. But you will find out that the office of the head of service, head of the civil service of the federation, wrote a letter to this fellow, asking him or telling him that he has been permitted to recruit 300 staff, and they were classified. Those who will be directors on level 17, assistant directors, deputy directors, down to level 8. And he was asked not to exceed the number because, of course, that usually happens to avoid budget problems. Senate committee wrote, House of Reps committee wrote, head of service wrote to the same person. Was he forging himself into all those places? Alex, there was a case that is in court against a lady who is also answering princess, who met somebody and told him that he should pay to be given an appointment, and the person paid. After a lot of dribbling, he asked the person to bring more names, more people who want offices, and they brought money. It was after she didn't deliver that the man went to the police. Interestingly, both Adeyemi, Badabia Miller, the woman I'm referring to, are all from the same ethnic group in Nigeria. If the government was run as required with federal character, the first person who appointed chief of staff in Nigeria was Shehu Shagari. The person he appointed was Preston. The daughter later became Miss Nigeria from Delta. He didn't appoint Omar Diko, who was his in-law. You must spread the offices so that conspiracy will not be easy. But if all the people who are involved are from the same national group, it means that they meet somewhere where others are not present. You follow what I'm saying? That is the point of the federal character. Not only just let the government be inclusive. Let it be inclusive. But if the government structure is not inclusive, and that's why you find that each time there is, often there are announcements of appointments, they come from the same group because they have become an in-group that do not allow others entrance. So it's possible that many of the appointments we have been hearing that the president has approved or not approved will have been made by the same people. Because what is a chief of staff is actually in when Abubakar was prime minister and Omara was premier. That office was occupied by a civil servant called principal private secretary. Principal private secretary. So he's familiar with the rules of the government. So you cannot, bulldoze your way into the office of the prime minister or premier. If you have an appointment with him, he would have scheduled it. So that when you come, he goes to that page. He say, "Have you appointment for today?" He goes to that page. That's why government makes diaries and calendars. But now, it's a pity really that Badabia Miller has a record. He was in the US, he studied law, but he was barred by the entity where he was operating because of matters of fidelity with his clients. Now, in the House of Reps, he wanted to be speaker. He engineered the removal of one lady who was made speaker. One lady who was in PDP. Eventually he didn't get it when Tambuwal overthrew him. Eventually he became. And when he was there, it was the same type of way. When the ADC political party was having problem, he came to a party and told one person who was a member of ADC not to back down, that he should not leave the party, that he should remain there and keep causing trouble. I mean, this is somebody who is in government. You are telling somebody to keep disturbing the peace of the country. When there was a crisis in Lagos State about the speakership, he himself disclosed that the Director General of the State Security Service called him on phone, telling him that the president is worried that he is part of the conspiracy to remove. Now, is that the job of DSS? What has the DSS told him about the children that were kidnapped from Orire local government? So I'm sure that people who are from the same community, they can be interacting. But when somebody is so euphoric that he discloses what was discussed in private, there's nothing. I doubt that there are not too many things he will not do.
All right. So as we continue this discussion, let's talk about issue of power and patronage. Is Adeyemi a lone con artist who masterfully exploited bureaucratic loopholes, or does the scale and duration of his operations suggest deeper complicity or negligence within the corridors of Aso Rock?
Well, the government, like I've used the word state capture. People who have captured a state do not run it according to rules. In fact, there is a man from the north, who said that why should you be in power if you cannot abuse it? That the purpose of being in power is to do as you like. Doing as you like is called abuse of power. But he said, why should you be in power if you cannot abuse it? This is the mentality of many people. Alex, you are a chief here, but you work according to rules. You work according to the rules. This is a registered body. There are restrictions, there are freedoms. You don't abuse it because you are in the office. In other words, what people call power are offices of state, offices with responsibilities. What they now mean by power is that they can exceed the responsibilities or refuse to discharge them, and that nothing will happen. But when I was in primary school, we used to march drill after, after assembly. One of the songs that maybe came from the British, he said, there is power in the law. The power is in the law, not in the person. There is power in the law. But in Nigeria now, there is now power in the person, not in the law. That's why people can, cheat you and say, go to court because they have power. What the court will say, they already know.
Mm. So let's talk about the issue of bribery allegations, because somebody was saying, Ofa Kubaloka, given Adeyemi's claim of 400 million and more allegedly demanded by Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, what does this scandal reveal about the persistence of patronage networks and appointment for cash practices in Nigerian governance? You've referenced this quite a bit in this discussion, but he continues to insist that money was demanded by the Chief of Staff to the President, allegedly. So this is not the first time someone is alleging that the Chief of Staff to the President asked for money.
This is not even the first time. These offices, like I've told you now, are supposed to perform some function, but they are giving us grants from which some people can be harvesting. When Goodluck Jonathan was president, his chief of staff, who was a former deputy governor of Delta State, was accused of demanding money from people who want to see the president or who want to get offices. I think Goodluck removed him on the basis of that allegation. I think he investigated and saw one case and removed him. This one nothing will happen because it's an insider thing. I think the key point in the trading of allegations is that a percentage of the budgeted amount was to be transferred to the person who appointed him. All these allegations that he paid 400 million and 200 is still outstanding, I think is designed to confuse the matter. And because they want to bury the matter, they are taking it to the police. When serious matters come, they go to ICPs, that's their DSS, those are their preferred agencies. Anything that goes to the police now, you will hear of Officer 1, Officer 2, and before you know it, either the officer is transferred, the matter is taken to Lagos State or Kano State, and it ends. Of course, the former British Prime Minister, King Boris Johnson, described Nigeria as a fantastically corrupt country. And there's no doubt about it, On the road, you see school children. In the classroom, they are taught that bribery and corruption is bad. On the road, they see officers of government collecting money openly for no offense.
All right, but speaking now directly about the Chief of Staff, he has strongly disclaimed any involvement with Adeyemi or the councils. Now, the question is, how might this scandal, regardless of its final outcome, affect his political standing and the internal dynamics of the Tinubu presidency?
These people have gone too far on the road. You know, the scripture described two men who were disciples of Jesus, who were, dismayed that Jesus was killed. They were discussing their loss of hope because they were thinking of Jesus, as many Jews were, of a military champion that will defeat Rome and make Israel free again. As they were going, Jesus joined them and opened their eyes. But they were so interested because they were committed. They asked Jesus not to leave them, that he should come and stay with them. And it was at the breaking of bread that their eyes were opened. These people have gone too far. They are not longer listening to anybody. If they met Jesus, they will ask him to continue. Go your way. We know where we are going to. They can't reform themselves. It is difficult to reform. They can't reform themselves. And this is disturbing, really, because, after Gerald Gowan disclosed his book, most people have been talking about January 1966 coup, July 1966 counter coup, the Civil War. Nobody has talked about what Nzogu complained about, corruption in government. That matter is not being discussed because it is accepted as a norm. Corruption has been normalized. Look at even political parties. Everybody claims that somebody was demanding money from him to be elected. But elections are supposed to be representative offices. If you try to contest for nomination, who asked you, who are you going there to represent? Because if, let us say that somebody is running for office from Enugu South constituency, state constituency, is dominated by people from Okolano clan. If you are a member of that clan and you are running, who asked you to run? If you are not an indigenous of Okolano, maybe you are like myself, living in Enugu South. But I know people from Akebe Ugu, from Amich, from who, and because we are friendly, they said, if I go there and somebody demands money from me, I will go back to them and say, engineer, there is somebody there that is asking me for money. But these people are not saying that they are representing anybody, even within their party. One man will say, person A demanded 20 million naira from me. I paid, he didn't give me. Who are your witnesses? Those people who asked you to come, those people who asked you to run, they are not speaking. In other words, it's like private markets, strictly private market, and government is being run like that. And I'm sorry to say that there is an interview that Onanuga gave, in which he said that the reason why there are many abandoned government projects is that government takes on too many things, and then priorities change along the line. Does that represent what you may consider to be proper governance? Because you don't overfill your day. You make appointments for 48 hours to be done in one day. How can you do it? So but it's their personal interest. So long as you can pay them money, they will say, yes, carry go. Anybody who comes, he brings money, they say, carry go. On the day of the carry go now, they will pick only one person.
Absolutely. So let's talk about ghost agencies. The question is raging whether this is the only ghost agency Nigeria has. And the question is, how common are phantom or parallel government structures in Nigeria? What does these, the question should be, what does the ease with which Adeyemi allegedly operated from the federal secretariat, what does it say about the systemic vulnerabilities in the civil service and the presidential bureaucracy he was operating from? the Federal Secretariat. Before you get an office space there, somebody will approve it. He had a line item in the budget, meaning that all the government agencies that dole out money can confirm that he is real. So, what does this say about whether there's probably more ghost agencies within the ranks of, especially the federal government at this time?
That's why I said that the way the government is run is not inclusive. It does not have federal character representation. All federal secretariats are manned by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. You know, they have been split into housing and the works and all that. But you can't get accommodation there without the knowledge of the controller of works in that building. But you may find that if person A is given a ministry as a minister, but he is not from the in group, a permanent secretary from the in group is placed with him to give him to be tackling him. Otherwise, how can an agency be allocated an office at the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, not in Enugu, without authorization of the controller? It's not possible. It's just not possible. That is not how systems work. But like I said, to quote a late Salih Ibrahim, who was a former chief of army staff, he said the Nigerian army has become an army of anything goes. So Nigerian government has become a government of anything goes. And talking about being, having parallel agencies, just imagine we have police, we have DSS, we have ICPC, we have Security and Defense Corps, we have EFCC, we have National Intelligence Agency, all of them from the same government. Then after creating multiplicity of agencies, now you create National Security Advisor to coordinate. You get what I mean? It is, this parallelism is inherent in government. Inherent in government.
It's inherent in government. This is Straight Talk here on Afia Radio 99.3 FM. We will take a break. When we return, we'll open the phone lines 0911 6993 993 0911 6993 993, and then you can drop a message on my Facebook page where I'm streaming live. You can listen to the station on our website www.afia993.com. Stay with us. You're welcome back to Straight Talk here on Afia Radio 99.3 FM. My name is Alex. So we'll open the phone lines now. The saga continues. There is a phantom agency, government agency. The man has been parading himself as the head of this and that. So, but the presidency says, you don't exist. The presidency says you don't exist. The man says that the presidency knows I exist. He's talking from hiding, by the way. He's currently in hiding. 0911 6993 993. That's the number to call us on. Hello, good morning.
Alex, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, from Abba Road. My first question to your guest. Okay, good morning, sir.
Yeah, he's greeting you, Dr. Keje. So,
Dr. Keje, good morning, sir.
Yeah, go ahead and make your contribution.
Okay, my dear. That's okay, from Abba Road.
Good morning.
The truth is that it's not one thing. My only worry is what's by on America or not whatever he's saying. Not saying that we are done. But how can he start defending this kind of thing? Being defensible. Somebody is something that okay, says an impostor. Tell us the original person. It could have been possible if somebody had told us, no, this man is not the correct person. Look at the correct person. That could have been understandable. To the extent that the ministry, that establishment name is in the budget. Oh, good God. So doesn't mean somebody can just from nowhere, just like the Yagé said, he has office, he is there, he has a staff, and his name is the office. His office has a budget, amount in the budget. And they went and defended their budget very well. And they're telling us their budget was not defended. It was very much defended. What is happening is just like what happened during, was it to Wambara? Yes. When they padded salary with and when it was for Obasanjo removed by the Senate president. And the same thing with Ngige, where Ngige was told if you move in, you'll be giving us 300 million every month. Ngige said, okay, when he moved, he refused to give those boys so 5 million, 300 million, and they decided to remove him at all costs. So the truth is that this man agreed to pay, we took or decided to jettison the agreement. If he had agreed to be giving out that 48% of whatever, there wouldn't have been any problem. They could have continued going. So in the image like I have been doing they had nature people. They had nature I don't know, my dear. It's all right. Let's see how it goes. God bless all of you, the people from Hampan Road.
Thank you, Kechuku, for your contribution. 0911 6993 993. That's the number you can call us on. I have Anikwe Kanechuku watching, Kusife Eze, and Dr. Nonso Igwe. I greet you. I greet you all. Feel free to drop your messages on the Facebook stream there on Alex Igwe's page on Facebook. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name and location?
That's my calling.
You're welcome. All right, good. Barrister, you're welcome.
I've been hearing all these phone calls for state government agency. Well, the fact remains that so many of such things exist in Nigeria. But only when you play by the rules, they don't go against you. I'm sure that this matter will not come to public domain again after this. This matter will be swept from the carpet. We are listening to the man this day on channel television. And I was saying, let the court of law that we have evidence. There is no public agency that exists in government that government are aware about that. The man at the studio giving you the account of what happens if it has the Minister of Works. The controller must know that your office exists in the ministry. So emergency has better allocations defended by the agency. And they are telling us all this hogwash. The last caller said before, the thing that we are morons. Just because the man has refused to part away with 400 million or so, and there or thereabouts, and everything came to public domain. These people in government, I don't see why a private assistant to the governor or president should be controlling ministries, because your staff is a secretary to the government, to the governor or president. He's a personal assistant to the governor or president, and his jobs are well spread out. He's a minister or in the state as a commissioner. So and he's controlling this kind of a thing. So we know where the thing is coming from. You know, these people in government, their hands are tainted. Their hands are tainted, seriously tainted. And you cannot clean your hand pathway into eating. You have to clean your hand before eating. You can't go into eating and say, let me go and wash my hands. The hands are dirty already. And may God help us. Thank you, Adol.
Thank you so much for your contribution on the program. 0911-6993-993. 0911-6993-993. That's the number. You can call us on to be part of the program. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Mr. Alex.
Good morning to you. What's your name and location?
Chibo from Masaka.
Chibo, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yes, I love the ongoing saga.
You love it?
Yes, I love it.
Please explain that love.
Yes, because it told me the other day, our institutions failed us. No separation of powers, no checks and balances. That is what it's supposed to be. Then equally interesting is the fact that Prince Matthew Adeyemigate is even sure and he's still saying it, that he's going to prove everything in the law court, that his life is under threat. Then I want to tell you something. You know, yesterday I was telling you about that Onanaga. He has not come out to defend the presidency the way he exposes things. Because if you remember, let me take you back, 3rd March 1995, when he was editor-in-chief of one of the press agencies in Lagos. He published a detailed article about an alleged coup. That was why the military arrested him that time. So why can't he come out now and give us a detailed article, a detailed explanation about what went on with those people? Then your guest finally said it there. When you know appointment of the presidency, they don't do that again under the credence. When you want to appoint somebody in a strategic position, it has to do with credence, credibility. This man, Adeyemigate, has been so much involved in fraudulent activities, and I hope that the president
allegedly,
yes, because the president said the one that he was a lawyer, because what he had there in the US he declared. I heard him. Then the other time when I knew that there was a rap between him and the president towards the end of last year. There was a time the president slapped the handshake with him. If you can feel. But your guy said it is because of the ethnicity. I don't believe that. This is when the government officials, when they stop seeing governors as a business. You see some state governors, they will not tell you that they are into business. Governance is not leadership business. Leadership is about what you give to the masses that gave you the mandate. Who are you representing? Institutionally, you have to represent the people that gave you that mandate. But when you go in there, you see it as a business. That is why I'm saying, we the youths and we the left, at times we even have lapses on our own side. We should stand up and say and put a stop to all this rubbish. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chibo, for your contribution. 0911-6993-993. That's the number to call us on here on the program to be part of it and lend your voice. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Alex.
What's your name and location?
Alex, my name is Johnson, calling from the beautiful city of Ologo.
You're welcome, Johnson.
Yes, unless I'm amazed how such things will come out in this country called Nigeria, and the people who are supposed to take care of the situation are keeping with leaving it for Nigerian police to take over. Unless in the civil or public service, there is a law that once a claim accession is established, you step aside. And for President not asking Adeyemigate to step aside so that implementation should go on with unfiltered, shows that he may also be part of this deal. Because it is in this country that we have for the first time about budget planning. How will somebody convince Nigerians that a man just walk into a space, open an account with a central bank, allocated office at the federal secretariat, had an office where he has been attending meetings with foreigners? How the name even, how the organization name even got to the National Assembly? How budget appropriations was made to that organization? Monies were being signed out, and somebody now said, "This man is demanding this social amount of money from me." That is when the federal government said the establishment does not exist. So who Nigerians now believe? Nigerians are not that bad. They are not now stupid. To know that for some people have gone to this stage, to an office, their name is in the list of National Assembly, people that appropriated money to, and they are telling us that they does not exist. Something very serious is going on in this country. That means there are so many millions of organizations not known to Nigerians that those in government are using to siphon money. Why are we not talking about budget implementation from 2003 to today? Well, people will come for budget and say, we are having 3 billion naira as our budget this year. But these are arrangements made already by people in government. Now, those that appropriate this 3 billion, you return 2 billion. So when the person returns 2 billion, he has 1 billion naira to play with. So how will you want the country to develop even an inch further? I don't want people to keep talking about nothing does not exist. No. Let's deal with the matter. The matter is, if chief of staff of the president ever demanded money from this man, that is the issue. People nobody can convince Nigerians that office does not exist. It's not a fake office. It's just that where we find ourselves, especially under this administration and even the past one. And let's remember that it is this country called Nigeria that somebody went and borrowed and aircraft, brought it to this country, planted this Nigerian air. After inauguration, the plane was flown back by the owners back to their country. And people are not discussing it today. You think anything cannot happen in this country? The only thing that is remaining in this country now is for me or any person that wants to court and say, I need an order of the court to kill somebody. That's the only thing remaining. And very soon that will happen. But we pray that God intervene in the situation of Nigeria. It's not even God. God has done everything he's supposed to do for a country called Nigeria. But my problem is that the generality of the people are very docile. I don't know why we sit and watch people that are not up to 0.1% of the whole population suppress and maltreat Nigerians as people say Nigeria is their property. Look at what Adeyemigate. Good morning, Alex. Have a nice weekend.
Good morning and have a nice weekend too. 0911-6993-993. That's the number. You can call us on to be part of the program. 0911-6993-993. Call us on that number. You make your contribution. Let's know who's on the line. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name and location?
My name is Udoka. I'm calling from Enugu.
Udoka, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. I think it is a very good topic that are having.
Yes, Udoka.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you need to raise your voice. It tends to.
Okay, I said the last thing I spoke, it spoke the mind of a lot of people in Nigeria. You know, everybody is angry about what is happening. But I have a simple thing that I just want to say, short and brief. Nigeria is not working because of the kind of system we are running. In all honesty, if Nigeria is actually properly restructured, and there is no sharing of money in Abuja, this whole thing will end. But as long as people are going to travel to Abuja to seek money and come and implement and come up with budget and say they are implementing anything, this issue will continue to happen. Imagine if I am going to be a local government chairman of my village or my local government, and you're telling me, look, that you want to be the chairman, but I'm not giving you a dime. You generate your money and develop your local government. So it's now left for me to come in that local government and think of how to raise my revenue and begin to develop my state. My brother, if we don't do that as a nation, if we can't just do about restructuring, people generate their revenue and need to run the local government, run the state government, and give the little to the center. This issue will never end. You see this budget party is what it's talking about. It will continue to happen. Nigeria needs to arise and be serious about restructuring. I'm being sincere about that. Not caring, doesn't matter whether something there is more money. If there is more money, that's his fault, that's his job. If I'm from Nigeria Delta or from North Nigeria, if you want mineral resources that give me more money, fine and good. If you don't have money, then look inward and look at how you generate money. But as long as they're going to continue to share money in Abuja, we will never solve this problem. We continue to have this problem. Really, like you said, last class, if we Nigerians are tired of these things, we are right and begin to ask questions and begin to hold our leaders accountable. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution. Let's see if we can accommodate one more person before we wrap it up. 0911-6993-993. 0911-6993-993. Straight talk here on Afia Radio with me, Alex Bodo. All right, there is a caller here. Hello, good morning.
Hey, Alex Ewodo.
Good morning to you. What's your name and location?
Okutoma.
Tutuama.
Mbodire. It's me.
Mbodire, no.
Na-asụ Igbo.
Nsogbu adịghị Mbodire.
Ịma ha ege ntị ihe ndị ọbụla na-atụnyesi, onye ọbụla na-atụnye. O nwere ihe okwu mbụ onye ala ofu okwu kwuru, ana m echefu ya. Ọ sịrị na ndị Naijiria na ha dịka ezi ebu na-aga ebe a na-achọ igbu. Ọ ga na-eti ozugbo nje ụmụ chere n'onu n'ebe niile edere ju. Ya bụ ihe Naijiria bụ. Aga-eme ihe a na Kenya, aga-eme na South Africa, aga-eme dịka onye ọbụla na-ekwu jọsụ nsọpụta ya na-eme ebe ahụ dịka ibu na-aga ebe a na-achọ igbu ya. Ọ ga na-eti mkpu ozugbo nje mma banyere n'onu ebe niile eju oyi.
All right, now Lauren Mbodire. And I'll get the final thoughts of Dr. Stan Ukeje. From your experience, how do you think this matter will be resolved? Yes, we understand that it is in courts, but the court is going to maybe try to find whether the man is guilty or not. But he insists that he has proof that there was connection with the chief of staff to the president. So what lesson is there to be learned from what has happened now? And should there be a proper audit of federal government institutions to know whether we have many more cases like this that are just lying low?
Alex, how do you say that you were in ESBS, which was a well-established agency?
Yes, ESBS for about 12 years.
Starting from Eastern Nigerian Broadcasting System down to today. Therefore, you inherited a system that is of old.
Yeah, you get a pay slip at the end of the month.
The people in government now at the federal level are not of the same stuff. If you remember, the case that created problems in Imo State was that somebody who said he was a deputy commissioner of police claimed that he had results he collected from every polling booth that showed that the former deputy speaker did not win the election. The police didn't come out to say, this man is actually a deputy commissioner of police. The INEC didn't say, we are aware that the police sent this man to work with us. All those things were suppressed, and a court gave ruling removing the elected governor. In a proper administration that I'm familiar with, the place to start is to interrogate all the agencies of government that has been interacted with that office. Forget about the man. the office of the head of service, you wrote this letter. Look at their dispatch register. Who dispatched it? When you got there, was it acknowledged? Get the acknowledgement copy. Go to the office of budget. Check their register. Did you dispatch an invitation to contribute to the budget to this office? Why did you go directly to them? Why didn't you write through the ministry that is coordinating it? Go to the Ministry of External Affairs. Ask them, when you heard that this man convened a meeting of ambassadors in Nigeria and you raised an alarm, how did the ambassadors receive that letter without it coming through the ministry? Or did it come through the ministry and you became alarmed when you knew that he was convening the meeting? It is when you clear all these things that you can confirm that the man forged documents. If he forged it, forgery is an offense. Uttering it is another offense. In other words, presenting it as authentic. But you can see the police has filed a case in court without the accused being present. He said these are privileged ways of ending a case. The usual matter of arrest, you make a statement, you get your lawyer. The man even has a lawyer, but you say you don't know where he is. Where did he contract his lawyer? It's a mark of the failure of the state. The Nigerian state is no longer in existence, and that's why you find the enterprises like kidnapping. Because even in the urban areas, you find government agencies kidnapping people. Maybe you're accused of a traffic offense. You and your vehicle are seized and dumped somewhere. When you are dumped, you are asked to pay. Nobody shows you the law under which you are required to pay X amount. All right. You pay. They don't give you receipts. They say, oh, we are going to send you an alert. For 1 year, you won't get the alert, which means your money is lost. So it is urban kidnapping by agencies of government. Then imitators go into the bush and do the same thing. Can you imagine that somebody had been charged to court recently for 5 people for concealing their knowledge that Timi Pereseba was part of a conspiracy to overthrow the government. And they have been kept in detention since 2025. They only brought to court this week or so. And the court didn't even ask them, why did you keep this man? I mean, that is the first thing that the court, if it's a court of justice, you say you have been holding this man for this long. Why? Take him away. Since you have kept him for months, why are you coming bring him to court now? That is what a court should do.
All right.
Don't use us to cover up what you have done wrong.
That's right. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I have to thank you so much, Dr. Stan Okeja, for your insights on today's program. Thank you, as always.
Thank you, Alex, for educating me and educating the public too.
We are all learning together, Dr. Okeja. Jenny Blessing is saying, good morning, sir. God bless you so much for your good work. And God bless you too. Thank you so much for all those who also watched on Facebook. Okay, that's the Straight Talk for this week. We'll adjourn until Monday. My name is Alex Obodo. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Good morning.